Hi, I'm Romi.
And I'm Nicole. Welcome to the Her Pursuit Pod, where we share our journey of building our business, The Daily Drip, a dynamic media platform that provides content and community for more than 4,000 South Florida female CEOs, founders, business owners, executives, and professionals.
Whether it's through our newsletter, events, or this podcast, our hope is to inspire your next big move and arm you with the tools you need to crush it. So tune in on your drive to work, wind down with us after a long day as we share our journey and the journeys of other remarkable business leaders on Her Pursuit. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Her Pursuit. This is part 2 of a very engaging conversation. I think part 1 was awesome. So if you haven't listened to that, go back before you listen to this one. I am joined again with Karen Ross from Palermo Lansman Ross, Ciara Gravier from The Bunker, and Lisa Rigoli, Element of Change. And we are continuing the conversation about content planning, content strategy, how it fits in your business, how it actually leads your business strategy. And so we're going to start off with, what role does content play in your business development strategy? And have you noticed that it has been sort of somewhat instrumental in growing that for you, your business development?
For me, the first year in business using content, I honestly can say that I was speaking to everyone, if I'm going to be real. I'm like, I'm just going to put it out there because I need to start, and I'm glad that I did that. But then I realized I was no different than, you ever been to one of those restaurants that look really aesthetically pleasing, but then when you go in, the menu pages are like 10, and it's like sushi, then burgers, then pizza, and then tacos, and you instantly get overwhelmed because you're like, shit, I know I'm hungry, but I don't know what I want to eat because there's so much.
And you're kind of wondering, like, are they really good at anything?
Right. Correct.
Because sushi and burgers shouldn't be together.
Correct. And it's, yes, there's a lot of sickness things that can, anyway. So I felt like that was 2023, but a little bit more glamorous, but not, okay.
So we weren't looking at the Cheesecake Factory.
No, I was not cheesecake, but maybe I was a little Cheesecake Factory. Anyway, I was like, wait, I want to be like that wood fire oven pizza, like, you know, the place that just makes really, really good pizza. And I think that was the development where I was like, hey, I want to be known for transition. I want to make sure that when people see my content and I'm talking about transition, it's very easy for them to be like, oh, I am going through a transition. So you'll notice I'll talk about it from a business perspective, but I'm also a mom of kids who are growing and they're in transition. So I'm very intentional to weave it in that way. So that way I am the pizza place. Like, I am known for this one-stop shop.
I love that. And I think that it's really important. I think where people miss the mark, business owners and entrepreneurs, is especially in the early stages, right? Like, we're all just trying to get started. We're getting traction, getting wheels on the ground, you know, all of that. And so it's kind of like, I'm just trying to appeal to as many as possible. And I think there's a fear that comes with it that if I niche down or I narrow down, that I'm going to miss out on opportunities, or I'm going to exclude certain people. And I think what I've noticed personally, is that the more clear and niche you get on who you are trying to talk to, it doesn't eliminate those people. You become the expert at that, and it still keeps it open. And I always think of Malia, actually, because Malia, her attorney practice is focused on creatives for the most part, but it didn't stop me from reaching out to her to help my husband, who's got a fintech platform, to help us with the legal side. So it just makes you very much the authority in that one space, but it doesn't negate your expertise in the field in general. And it actually made it a lot easier for me when I started to understand that transition was really the cornerstone. I knew how to position you. I know how to talk about you better. And I would adjust it only because I know there was a focus on the healthcare space. But when I met people to that point that were not in that space, I still leverage it. I just left out certain words because it was still like, when I hear somebody say, there's a new team, the CEO got fired, whatever, I'm like, that's Lisa Rigoli. She does leadership transition. She works with your team during the transition. She helps the new leadership. I mean, I kind of been schooled in Element of Change, but it true. And that has, like, it's very, I think it's important that our audience understands that don't be afraid to get really clear and to niche down on who you're trying to speak to, because I actually think it becomes more compelling.
And here's just a plug to go back to part 1, because we talked about it there. But don't hold back from starting because you don't know where to niche down. At least start, because I share that I'm very grateful that first year I was that random restaurant that had 10 pages, because it made me realize, oh shit, no one knows what I'm doing. So now I'm realizing what I want to lean into. So that's why I just want to.
The Daily Drip was like that too. Like, we're not for all business women. We're not for all women that do these specific things. Like we've gotten to a place where now we know who our audience is and we know we're not for everyone, and the right people come, and that's exactly what you want when you're building your business or your community.
I would say it also gives you the reps of getting comfortable, right? I mean, Elizabeth said it before we started recording. Like when we started the short interviews, everyone was so stiff and so like aware of what they're saying and how much better we've gotten. So you got to start somewhere. Even if you don't know what your specialty is content wise, just start. Get comfortable, turn on the camera, and that will come naturally. Either your audience will tell you or the way your business shifts. And like Karen said in the last episode, right? CPA, yeah, but she said we're construction focused, right? So it's knowing that it is an advantage, but I agree. Just start anyways.
Just start. And I think like part of that, like our journey was the same as yours in the sense that like when you started, you have this idea, but it's not totally crystallized yet. Like, you know that you understand the mission. So you're clear about that, but you're not 100% clear, and you only get that clarity through doing. Correct. Like we didn't even really know, and they were like, oh, wait a second, this is landing, and these are the people we actually want in our sphere. So these are the people we need to speak to. And I think you have to trial and error that to figure that out.
So for me, I haven't really leaned into it. It was one of those things where I knew I had to create content. I understood you got to be found, but I didn't really have a clear, the podcast was solving all my problems for the moment, right? I was out there making connections. I was networking. It was kind of replacing some of my frivolous networking. So I was checking a lot of boxes, right? And I'm like, okay. And then I got like my stats on YouTube, and then I was kind of shocked. I was like, oh my God, this is like, I'm doing really good. Like, wow. And I had never really looked at it because there was no strategy behind it. And so I was like, oh, well, imagine if I tried, like with the strategy for next year. So I'm intentionally going to, and I'm kind of like creating my niches. Thanks to Nicole. Nicole helped me very much. Nicole threw me a life raft for sure, and she helped me with.
You drowning?
Yeah. I actually called her and I was like, Nicole, I need you really bad. I was like, I'm about to literally about to jump. Like, I need you, because I felt overwhelmed. I felt like I was doing a lot, and I am doing a lot, but without a direction. And I was like, I need someone to bring me back. Yeah, bring me back. And so, and content is going to be a big part of that. So I am going to be relying on content. I'm really using this month to create a whole bunch of value-driven, especially on YouTube. Like, YouTube is definitely a place where people go to look for answers. So to Karen's point of like the different platforms, right? Like YouTube is going to have a lot of educational, industry-specific content for manufacturing, for contractors, because they Google things and ask questions. What is product liability insurance, right? Like, I want to be the one that's there found answering that question. That's not going to be my Instagram reel. Right. So that's kind of the strategy where I'm going to be using of like platform wise, and also kind of turning the behind the scenes up more on like what it looks like to be a 40-something-year-old Hispanic woman in insurance with the cutest little Corey. I'm a dog mom. Yes. So, just building a business. I regret not documenting the first 5
years.
Yeah. So I told Nicole, I kind of want to like document the next 5. And she's like, well, you should, because you're going to give a lot of hope and, inspiration to people, women that think they can't do it. And I was like, I'm going to do that. So I'm doing that next year.
I love it, because you do it scared. So how does that,
do.
is there opportunity, and we were also talking about this a little bit, like when we talk about how we're integrating content plan with business plan, like what opportunities that presents? Like, is there a monetization element that can come along with, like, are you opening up additional revenue streams by integrating content plan with business plan?
Probably. That's not my goal year one on this strategy plan. My goal is I'm actually trying to marry what the Daily Drip has taught me and what I've kind of been doing by accident, right? I speak in insurance. My audience is kind of specific about like branding, agency branding, and speaking to women in insurance. And I told Nicole, I'm enjoying the speaking part, but I need to grow my business. I need to like you see Lisa's speaking and she's speaking to her potential clients, right? Like I'm speaking to people in my industry kind of to like inspire them to keep going, but I need to speak to people that are going to grow my business. Like that's cute, but I need to grow my business, right? Yeah, I need to pay my bills. So I told Nicole that's what I needed help with the strategy, like marrying the thought leadership world that I've kind of fallen into and that you guys so graciously continue to push me to do and encourage me, which I appreciate that. But I needed to bring the two together. Yeah. So she helped me marry that vision of like, okay, well, the thought leadership stuff you're doing here, do it for the target industries. Go speak to manufacturers. Go speak to the people that help manufacturers. Go speak to the people, the CPAs, the attorneys, the bankers that serve the construction people, the concrete people. So then you're marrying the two.
So your content essentially looks the same, but you're now kind of broadening the audience.
Right.
And it's an audience that would be potentially buying from you, or at least you're at least getting recognized in front of a broader audience that would buy your service.
Right. And to Lisa's point, right? Like if I become the person, especially on these platforms like LinkedIn, that is constantly speaking to manufacturers and electricians, and I'm the person that helps manufacturers and electricians, to both of your points, well, guess what? When a restaurant needs insurance, they're going to think, well, she can handle it.
Yeah. I think that's the key to all of this is that, Nicole uses the word mind share, and what you want to be doing is showing up in a way that, and again, it doesn't have to be every day. But how you show up and what you're saying is how people are going to automatically connect you when they think of the service that you provide. Right. So they're automatically they're getting to know you, they're hearing about your kids, they're seeing what you're doing from a philanthropic point of view. But when they have a CPA question, you're going to be front of mind.
Well, and they see how you collaborate. They see who you collaborate with, how you collaborate with them, and then you become that go-to person for all things.
I think collaboration is key.
Collaboration is key.
Whether it's in content, in your business, in your life in general.
And it feels good. It feels so good to elevate the people around me and build their content, build their brand, and utilize my network. It just feels good. It feels right.
I'm with you.
I agree.
But that's because we're good people.
It's not for everyone, but it's definitely
But
for
honestly, but Karen, to your point, that's what I think that content is so much more than just turning on a camera and likes. It's turning into a revenue generating, brand building, not turning into, it's been. But I think the business world is opening its mind up more to it, especially at the higher levels, right? The C-suites. These people are understanding we need to highlight our people, not the company. Right. Because we, as maybe it's even the shift of just business is getting bigger in this Amazon craze, right? Where we're all buying everything on Amazon. When we need services that are serious and impactful, we want to do it with people that we know, like, and trust. Yeah. And that's the only way we can do it. And the fact that I could do it at home on my couch and get to know your family, it's great.
Well, I think also that we have a bandwidth, right? As somebody that did a stupid amount of events that goes to a ton of networking, it's incredibly exhausting. It's very depleting. It's hard to manage. And when you have good content, you actually get to pull back a little bit from that, because now you're still connecting, you're communicating. And, when you show up on LinkedIn, you should still be showing up like it's a networking event, but it's much more effective from a time standpoint. It gives you an opportunity to not have to just go and work a room. You can use these platforms the same way you would use a networking event.
You're working a digital room, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. And another point of view, I think, for example, when I decided, and I told my partners, we are redoing our website. I don't care how many clients we have. I don't care that we're growing. I don't care that we're just going to the next level. We need a new website. And why? What is your reason? And when Jeff came to me and said, what is your main reason for wanting a new website? I go, to attract different employees. It wasn't even for clients. It was because I knew to take the firm to the next level, we needed to attract the kind of employees that were going to fit into our culture. So I think content does that also. If I have CPAs out there that are looking for a job and they see me posting and they're ready to leave another firm, they have been seeing the type of culture that we have at our firm. That's for me, and they're going to come over and they're going to try to get hired with us. So it's not even just for business development, personal brand. It's also I want to build my firm, and that's how you do it, through your people, through your employees.
And to your point too, since we're working in such old, archaic industries, I mean, if it's a young CPA that's interested in personal branding and he's working for a firm that doesn't let him, He knows he has a home
And
where
we
he
are
can
that
get that.
firm. Yeah, we are that firm. And they see it on social media. We absolutely post that on social media, various platforms, and we do it in a very natural way.
So how do you think that your content has impacted your business? Like how and to what degree, I guess is the question.
I mean, for me, I would say on LinkedIn, it creates more awareness. With me attracting mid to large size organizations, it's very clear when they would reach out to me, which I love. And then for my existing clients, from an Instagram perspective, because I think people are on Instagram, they love to be able to see, oh, I get to learn and know more about Lisa and her team, because I do on Instagram as well. I share the personal side of my team. So I think for me, we use the word collaboration, but for me, it's connection. So how is my audience, whether it's prospects or current clients, how do they feel connected to who we are and the work that we do?
Have you noticed a difference from when you first started, like that like the people you're connecting with and the level of engagement?
So what I will say is what's really interesting is the growth has happened. So I've gotten a lot more followers, a lot more things of that nature. But one thing that we're trying to look at differently in 2025 is that I hear often from so many people, you guys even said it, like, oh my gosh, your content's so good. You're so, like, I know what you do. But we want people to actually slide into our DMs and actually have more deeper conversations. It's not about, I don't want it to be a space of how do you serve us? But I want people to be like, I just got laid off. And I would love to be able to lean on you and things of that nature. And that's not happening right now. So that's the thing I'm being honest, like we're trying to figure out how we shift.
What if you just said that? What if you said, hey, if you're just watching this and you just got laid off?
So we have. And I think, but slide to the left.
Nobody slides into a DM. That's Nicole used to love it about me because I would literally slide into all the DMs. Like I had no shame in the game. I would just be like, hey, I'd love to meet you. And here's all these things. Like Cody Sanchez. I literally slid into her DMs. I'm like, you should check us out. I love your stuff. I don't even care.
I want to attract then people like you because I'm the person that doesn't slide into DMs. But I'm trying to figure out how do I get them into our psyches because there are some people that do, but I want to cast a wider net of the me's, I guess if you would, that are like, oh, I'll just reach out to you when I see you in
embarrassed to
person.
slide into people's DMs.
Same.
To your point of like embarrassed of tagging, like I would never just like.
I would never. You're talking about it. I'm like, oh, no.
Flip and slide all over.
She's
the place.
cringing. She's cringing in the corner. She's like, I'm still tagging people, maybe.
I grew my entire network from sliding into DMs. Like everything
Do it on
that
LinkedIn
is
too?
everywhere.
Do you invite them for a
Because-
15-minute virtual coffee?
No, I give more than 15 minutes.
My goodness, you
But I will say this. I was also though very hyper like, so yes, all jokes aside, I do slide into DMs, but like I'm not coming in and hot selling you on things. Like I was genuinely reaching out to people that I was attracted to in terms of what they were showing up and saying. I mean, Daniel was a great example of that. Like Daniel Wakefield, I was watching, following, no one introduced us and I reached out. I'm like, first of all, headshots, worse than going to the dentist, like legit the worst thing ever. But I love your work. And then just like started talking and having a conversation. Like I've met so many people just by saying, I love how you show up. I really like, I'd love to grab a coffee. I'd love to learn more about what you do. Like there is a method to it in the sense that I always went in with no like ulterior motive, except I was just like, I just want to meet and continue to grow a network of good people that are interesting and doing kind of cool stuff. So I think that's why I'm not self-conscious about it because I'm not asking for anything.
But I think that's the point. Like if you're a user of social media, if you're a content creator on social media, just be you. You do it the way it feels natural, right? Like I'm not sliding into people's DMs, okay, but I'll comment on it. Yet.
But I think
Cry on social media, slide into DMs. I got a list of homework.
The
when I
question
leave
is
here.
just how though, because I hear what Lisa's saying, and I think it's kind of like, how do you adjust? And you don't want to, and I don't mean adjust like change how you're doing your content, but it's kind of like, how do I somehow bring another element in that's going to give people the comfort to say, I want to reach out to her because I'm struggling with this.
Correct. And I think it's a desire, right? I think anyone that's watching this probably has this desire of success looks like if my follower count is growing, right? If more likes or more comments are happening, then my content's landing. If I were to reframe it slightly, when I think of when you send me someone to connect with me, they will say, after Romi connected us, I started following you and I now know I know what you do and I have all these questions. And we're tracking that. We're tracking how many people from the second that you connect us, are they following us and how does the conversation go? So we have an Excel spreadsheet that literally click up. They should connect. Exactly.
That's how we're going to integrate our content plan with our business plan. They're going to be a sponsor, right, Liz? Go on.
But we have it in a way that there's three columns. The first column is who referred them, and then do they follow us? And then I have to actually put the manual notes of what did they say during that time. And I'll ask the question like, hey, based off of what you read, what do you know about me? Because I want to know, is it landing? And if it's not, what? And I do it because I want to make sure, but I think I'm doing it from that same space of I'm associating DMs the way that I used to associate follows and likes. Did anyone else?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can see that.
Yeah. And I don't know why.
Funny, I pay more attention to the connecting and engaging piece than I do about like the widespread followers for me.
Same.
Because to me, like, I don't need millions of people to be following because I know exactly who we want to be a part of this, right? So like in my mind, it's like as long as it's the right people that I'm connecting with, it doesn't have to be a volume play, right?
But I'm such a connector. Same. I can care less if I get 10,000 followers tomorrow. Right. To me, though, if someone slides in my DMs and is like, oh my gosh, your reel reminded me of the layoff I had, or your post just reminded me that I actually have a transition coming up, can we talk? That's not happening right now. And I just want to be real. Like, so as much as it's creating awareness, 2025... Can I say? Yeah. Okay, this is part 2. In 2025, it's more about how are we measuring the art? Like, is it actually converting to people being like, now I want to, they're asking me for my services because I'm not talking about the services live.
That's interesting. That's very helpful to me in developing my 2025 content - business development plan, because it's like, all right, I spent 2023 doing nothing, learning my passwords to get onto LinkedIn. And then 2024 was like, all right, I want to like dabble, and then, becoming the vice chair at Children's Harbor really put me out there, becoming a thought leader really put me out there, and now I'm like skimming the surface. 2025 I'm coming. Like I'm sliding in. I am coming for it. I am coming for it. And I can do buckle up. And I think, in my industry, because we're so deadline driven, we have tax code, we have deadlines, we have filing dates, we have seasons. It's easier for me to develop even just a calendar with a plan of action and then throw really cool stuff in there. But I can monetize it because I'm able to say, oh, remember I said with the gingerbread wars, I was like, I want a cost segregation for my gingerbread house. So I can make something really fun and then just talk about cost segregation. And then somebody knows, oh, wow, that's a CPA firm that knows about a tax deduction that I don't know about yet. I need to switch over to that firm.
I think that's a conversation I have with a lot of people. I try and explain to them, like, you can share personal things and weave in what you do. Like, that's really, like, in my opinion, that's kind of the play. And I think what I learned a lot about when it came to content was as it's for business development and how it helped me in terms of like the amount of networking I had to do, which was making me absolutely bananas, was that and I credit Matt Saverick for the phrasing of this. So hats off to Matt, but he's the best. We're all Matt fans. Was what started to happen, and what Nicole and I noticed was that as your content gets better and better, and as you start to develop your thought leadership and people are paying attention, you have more of a pull and less of a push. So my inbound has become so robust, and that's how I see it in terms of like the work that I do in business development being my role, is that I have to do a lot less outbound and I do a lot more inbound, meaning I don't have to network the way I used to. I'm so busy just taking the referrals that come my way, the introductions that come my way, that I now get to enjoy. No, oh my God, Karen is the best, and she hyperlinks everything. She's like, so here's good. Romi's Calendly, here's Candid Combos, we need to template that, honestly. Yeah. But my point is that has happened over doing good content after, like, people know me as a connector. That was my personal brand. And so all of a sudden I had to do a lot less outgoing, and I started to be able to sit back and feel the inbound. And that's a really good place to be in, and how I think your content's landing. is that people are drawn to it.
It's just self-generating. It just keeps exponentially growing.
And it's the right people. I'm no longer like kind of fish in a barrel. It's like the people that are coming to me they're already warm. They're already interested because they've seen, they've heard, they're paying attention.
I think that to your point too, that's one of the reasons why I started the podcast, because instead of going to another lunch or another dinner or a breakfast that I don't want to go to, I could spend an hour with someone intentionally that's going to live online on YouTube
And help everyone else.
and provide value, highlight them. Like there's just so many other benefits to the time spent that I think it's just better. It allows the flexibility to be more intentional, and like picky with what you actually spend your physical time doing, in the networking
And
space.
I think that that's really important because we live in a day and time right now where like our agendas, our schedules, our lives are very, very full. Family, friends, work, all the things. Yeah. We can't afford to be like not, discriminate against how we're spending our time. So as we close out, let's go. I know you kind of spoke already about sort of how you're going to level up your 2025 plan. Is there anything else you see in terms of you definitely want to be putting out content that's going to generate a response, like people coming into your DMs, but how else are you leveling up 2025?
Honestly, because of what I'm seeing with Ciara's TikTok, I want to play around with TikTok from a place of, and this is not even outlined in a nice Post-its, is how do I love a good Post-it. It's really weird. It is really, anyway, it gives me life. I feel like it would be cool to take someone behind the scenes of what it's like working with a client. And like, how do I tell that story? And how do I share what's working and what's not working with the permission of the client to be like, here's what's frustrating me during this situation. Here's the win that we had. You were talking about the dad who was like, how do I get promoted? But something similar where it's like, it's not sexy sometimes. I'm waking up 4:00 in the morning working on something for a client, and then my kids run in. But then at the same time, the wins that are, I don't know. So there's something about this TikTok component of, could I show that life for that people that need to see it, that I think plays into what I do well, which is the vulnerability, the storytelling in the video, and just see where it goes.
I think the separation of like the business of Lisa. Yeah. Not just your actual HR business, but your business, the business of being Lisa.
Could you imagine a CPA firm on TikTok?
Well, yeah, I think we can, and I think Karen is going to be the one to lead the charge.
I think that when you think about social media as, first of all, it has leveled the playing field for all of us, and I think the advantage is for the small business. Because the large firms, the large HR, the large insurance agencies, the large CPAs, they're not going to do what we have the capacity to do in the human side of it. So that's the part that if we don't come and take it, that real estate is ours. They're not coming for it. And I don't have dollars to go up against the Brown and Browns, right? Or the Marshes. I don't. And I don't have the resources they do. But the one thing I do have is that I get to show the behind the scenes. I get to be honest and real and highlight the people that I want to. And my collaborations aren't driven by money.
And I think that's why these platforms were created. They were created for...
And so it's ours to claim.
So
It's
what's
our
your
real estate.
2025 level up?
So that's so intentional. And so I'm not, again, Nicole helped me with this, with the reframing of who am I targeting and who am I talking to. I'm not talking to the manufacturer. I'm not talking to the electrician. I'm talking to the people that support them. Okay. So my content strategy is referral partner based. Got it. Not directly to, she told me you have to take Karen to lunch. Because I need to run it all by you. She told me Karen is a CPA. She's going to tell you if this is going to work and this is not going to work for CPAs, right? Take Valerie to lunch, who is a business attorney that sends me business already. Talk to her. Ask her, hey, Val, do you think this will work for other business attorneys or not? Like, get their input. And it is a natural collaboration. It's natural to get the feedback and you have the access to that. So I'm going to switch that is my content strategy that I have not been doing. I've not been doing that. So referral based, I'm switching it to referral based, and I am going to, again, marry the thought leadership part of it and really intentionally try to show the behind the scenes of growing this business. I'm going to do like a docuseries once a week on YouTube, like a little bit long form, showing my day in the life of, and that's what I like to watch.
That's exactly it. I think that's what translates is like if you're putting out there what you would want. You're attracting the people you want.
And I think it's going to turn into fun too. Like the podcast at first was work. And I told Elizabeth yesterday, I was like, I need help with this content stuff. Like, what are the angles? How do I set the camera? All that stuff. But eventually, I think I'm going to have fun with it. And just,
That's how I feel about this podcast.
right.
To be honest,
it's work at first. And then it turns into fun.
It was something at first, I'll tell you that. And it's still a work in progress, but I have been pleasantly surprised actually at how much I enjoy it, because it actually gives me an opportunity to do what I love most, which is connecting with the people I really enjoy being around. Like I don't have to sit around with people I don't enjoy. I get to actually soak up and learn. Like just being with the people that come on with you guys, like I continue to learn, I grow, I laugh, like all of it has become such an exciting part of the journey. So, and what's your plan look like?
So I realized what my plan was when I looked back at my thought leader, who is Karen Ross, because I don't talk about what I do. I don't talk about what my job is. I talk about who I am as a person. So I want to be a community leader in 2025, and I want that to come out. And I utilize my business to serve the community through philanthropy, to be a thought leader and help business owners, showing moms like, yes, being a mom and a business owner, it sucks sometimes. So I just want to be 2025 a community leader on social media, and I want to try new things. I want to get on video. I want to like get vulnerable, get on video, walk around my office, show my employees doing weird, crazy things and going nuts over a client sending, 12 months of bank statements and they want financials by tomorrow. I want to just show and try new things, and I want to do it scared, just like Ciara says. Yeah, I just community leader in
The coolest
2025.
boardroom ever. So you should be like filming in that
I
boardroom.
love that community leader. I love
Yes.
that. And that fits you so well. You're going to crush it. That's great.
It's going to be amazing.
I love that.
I am not sharing 2025 goals and objectives because we have so much planned and it's going to be really exciting. So we're just going to roll it out in the new year. It's going to be awesome.
You're going to do medium
Oh
videos.
yeah, I'm going to do medium videos. That is my big do it scared, get out of my comfort zone. Listen, I'm baby steps.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
it's weird because things like crossing an ocean ain't a thing. Things like getting on video make me want to vomit. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Crossing
right?
the ocean at night. Too.
So I love this. I really hope that the listeners are paying attention. I think the biggest takeaways is just keep doing it. Like don't wait. It's not going to be perfect, but it gets better. It is going to support your business. The more people get to know you, whatever mode, medium you choose, the more your business will grow, the better the relationships in your space are going to be. It's a win across the board. And it's going to be cringy at first. There's no avoiding it. It's just the only way to get through the cringe is to do it.
Great support system.
Great support system. And do it in community. That is why the Daily Drip is what it is. And it's how it started was this is hard. This is very outside our comfort zones. You're in HR, you're in insurance, you're a CPA. We're not content creators. But when you get to do it, being supported by other people that are also freaked out by it and helping guide you through it, it's so much more fun and it's so much easier. And then you've got people cheering you on. So thank you guys for being here. This was
so
awesome.
fun. You did a great job.
learned so much
by the way.
today.
I mean,
So did I.
I know.
So did I.
I'm excited for my co-pilot to be back for the next
Yes, we missed her.
episode, but we did lots of nods. And so thank you for joining us, and definitely make sure to tune in for our next episode of Her Pursuit.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Her Pursuit.
You can listen to new episodes every other Wednesday on Spotify or watch us on YouTube. Stay in the loop on all our virtual and in-person events, read our latest articles, and catch new episodes by subscribing to our free weekly newsletter.
Check out the episode notes for more details, and we'll see you here on our next episode of Her Pursuit.